Case file number 073. Entity designation, Naaldlooshii. You probably know it by a different name. The skinwalker. The file is empty. 0 confirmed incident reports filed with outside law enforcement. 0 verifiable photographs. 0 DNA samples. A perfect vacuum of data surrounding one of the most terrifying legends in North America. And that silence. That is the most important clue we have. This investigation isn't about what's in the file. It's about why it's empty. Our operational scope is the Four Corners region of the American Southwest, primarily within the borders of the Navajo Nation. For generations, oral tradition has described the Naaldlooshii not as a beast, but as a human witch who commits an unspeakable act, the murder of a close relative, to gain profane power, the power to become other things. When a belief this specific and this potent exists, the lack of a paper trail isn't a sign of fiction. It's a sign of a threat that is masterfully self-policing. The first rule of this case is that you do not speak its name, because to speak it is to invite it. That taboo is our primary piece of evidence. Let's address the elephant in the room, the so-called Skinwalker Ranch in Utah. While the subject of intense media speculation, the phenomena documented there, UFOs, poltergeist activity, do not align with the core patterns of traditional Naaldlooshii accounts. The ranch is a modern folklore phenomenon, a distraction, a different case file entirely. The real patterns emerge from hundreds of anonymous, anecdotal accounts. Let's look at 2 recurring scenarios. First, the roadside encounter. A witness is driving on an isolated highway at night. A creature, often a coyote or wolf, begins pacing their vehicle, easily keeping up at speeds over 60 miles per hour. Its movements are described as unnatural, its eyes glowing with a terrifying, human-like intelligence. Second, the auditory intrusion. A family is secured in their home. A tapping begins on the roof, or a scratching at the window, then a voice. It sounds exactly like a relative, a child, or a loved one, calling for help from the darkness, trying to lure them outside. The consistency in these reports, separated by years and geography, points to a shared experience, not a shared delusion. My standard equipment is useless here. The EMF meter is silent. The thermal camera shows nothing. There are no recordings, no blurry photos to analyze, but my own senses detect a pressure, a psychic weight. It's the palpable energy of a cultural fear so profound, it actively repels documentation and resists observation. The only tangible element that appears with any consistency is not a weapon, but a defense: white ash. In a case with no other physical proof, the unwavering belief in this single, simple countermeasure is the most compelling piece of evidence we have. A line of it at a doorway is believed to be a barrier it cannot cross. Synthesizing the data leads to a chilling conclusion. The entity's primary method of attack is psychological. It uses fear, mimicry, and the violation of sacred cultural norms to isolate its victims. The patterns show that the true threat is not a random monster in the woods, but a human enemy from within the community, motivated by mundane, human evil, greed, jealousy, revenge. This isn't a cryptid. This is a curse, wielded by a person. Threat level, unquantifiable, but assessed as critical within its specific cultural context. Case status, active monitoring. This file remains open, not because we're hunting a monster, but because we are observing the darkness that can hide inside the human heart. That's all for today's investigation into the shadows. If you want to dive deeper into the dark archives, make sure to subscribe to the HistoT YouTube channel. Remember, Knowledge is our best defense against the darkness. And I'll see you in the next archive. Stay vigilant